What kind of energy is driving our actions nowadays? Right from the beginning, when we wake up, until we go back to the bed, we come across many situations. We interact with many people, including our family members, friends, colleagues, even strangers. During all these discussions, what is the energy behind our actions and behavior? Many times, it includes guilt, shame, anger, and fear. Many times, even if our intentions are good, the way we communicate, the way we express our concerns will push us far away from the things which we are trying to achieve during those discussions. I will walk you through 4 incidents which will help us to understand what is the energy behind our actions nowadays. And then we will see how by focusing on the energy of human needs can help us to build a better tomorrow. So the first incident, I call it as connection or correction. Remember a situation when you really got angry, when you really got annoyed, when someone said to you few words, which implies that you are stupid, ignorant, irresponsible, lazy, or anything in the similar lines. During this kind of environment, lots of negative emotions will surface, and the intensity of these emotions will be very high when these words comes from the people who are not much close to our heart, or if it comes from the people who are always trying to find faults within us. Consider a person who is getting angry when these words come from his own family member, but the same person used to get these words very lightly when it comes from his close friend circle. In this close friend circle, they used to disrespect each other, find faults within each other, make fun of each other. In spite of all these things, they still stick together. If we analyze this situation, when we have connection with the people, we are ignoring the external meaning for those words. If it comes from the family members, during that time, we are just sticking to the external meaning of those words. Nobody is trying to understand what is the underlying intention behind those words. In the case of close friend circle, when these words comes, people will shield the external meaning for those words because the connection has already built there. And also, this will create an environment where people can give feedback to each other. That is the reason nowadays many parents are approaching their friends' kids and asking them to give the advice to their own kid. Isn't it sad that people are not able to connect with their own family members, where they themselves could have expressed their concerns openly and also listen to each other as another human being. So before we correct other people, it's very important to build a connection with them. If we build the connection, then the feedback and improvement areas we can openly give. Now, I will take you to the second incident, which I call it as the game of who is right, who is wrong. Consider you are working on an office thing and you will receive an information from your superior that you need to finish a critical work within few days at any cost. Now, when you try to look into this, you will understand there are lots of unknown for you. You will dig deeper, you will take help from the internet, but still you will not succeed much. Now you will reach out to a person who is a SME, an expert in this area, who is working in the nearby team. When you approach first time, this person will genuinely help you out. He will give you the required input, direction, how you need to work on this. And once you start working on this, you will again face lots of challenges and you will be in constant touch with this person. During this interaction, sometimes this person might get irritated and he will make fun of you. He will tell you, you are not a kid, we can't spoon feed you everything. And this will be a knife entering moment for you. With the energy of shame, with the energy of anger, you will send a strong email to this person, looping all your superiors and hoping that you will receive the required support which you are asking for. But that person will consider this incident as an escalation. Now, whatever the discussion happening between you and this person will all result into who is right, who is wrong. If you analyze this situation, there are lots of energies in this incident. Basically, duty, obligations, shame, anger. So how will you convert this conflict situation into collaboration? If you are a person who were offering the help, following two thinking might help you relax a bit. The first one is, don't you feel happy? Don't you feel proud that other person is genuinely considering you as worthy solving this problem? And second thing is, every human have a need for others' well-beingness. Don't you feel that your need for others' well-beingness would have been met by helping this person out? Well, if this person is behaving or exhibiting this kind of trait repeatedly without taking accountability, then you might need to handle it differently. But you need to express your concern openly and respectfully. Now, if you are a person who went to seek for the help, how will you convert this conflict into collaboration? First thing, you need to empathize with that person. That person might be genuinely busy, really busy with his commitment which he has made earlier. And the second thing is, this is a person who has already helped you at the initial stage. And you need to distinguish between his behavior and seeing him as another human. Once you understand the person and empathize with him, and then you can find strategies to meet your needs. You may ask for physical time which is convenient for both of you. You may ask your superior to reprioritize his task into this one, or you may even ask for a better timing. You may even ask help from someone else, because at the end your need is to get the support, but not necessarily from the same person. So when we shift our focus from who is right, who is wrong to what is our need, we can always build collaboration within the team. Now I will take you to the third incident, which is the incident of my personal life. I call it as the power of pat on the back. If I tell you you are a good person, you did a great thing, then you will feel happy, you will enjoy this. If I tell you you are a bad person, then you will feel sad, you will feel anger. We are so habituated to get the validation from others for our own actions and behaviors. If someone encourages us doing some activities, then we will keep on repeating those activities without thinking much how it is serving our life or how it is serving others. In my childhood, some of my relatives and some of my family friends, they used to mention to my parents that your son is a very good boy. He will never speak back to elders. By listening to that, I really felt happy. I used to enjoy those conversations. I also started to believe that speaking back to elders is a bad thing. Going forward, whoever speak back to elders, I used to oppose them. And also, I started to suppress my own needs, concerns. Just by thinking others might get hurt, others might feel sad. And I started to become a people pleaser. As I joined my professional life, I became hesitant to openly express my ideas, give feedback, my concerns in those meetings, because there used to be lots of senior members in those meetings. But these meetings require everyone to openly express their concern so that we collectively can make a better decision. Now, if you see, the education which I received during my childhood is no more serving me. So instead of this, we need to bring a culture where every human being should express their concerns openly, express their feelings, give the feedback openly without taking accountability for others' emotions. If you bring this kind of culture, we will also bring lots of ideas to the surface. This will build a collaborative working environment. So whenever we are encouraging someone doing some activities, we also need to make sure that we explicitly tell them how it is serving our life or how it is aligning with our values. Now, I will take you to the fourth incident, which I call it as attributing the responsibility of our own emotions and actions to others. Knowingly or unknowingly, we exhibit and promote a behavior where we deny to take the responsibility of our own actions and emotions. You may have heard some sentences. I got angry because she said something. I got sad because he did something. In this situation, we are giving the power to the others. We are giving the power to the others that they have control on our emotions. Consider a small kid playing in a rain or a mud, and you want to stop that game. Your intention is that kid should not get any disease. Now in this situation, some people will tell this kid in a polite way, some people will tell her in an anger way or a rude way. I am focusing on a particular way where people will tell something in the following lines. If you do not stop playing the game, your father will get angry. If you do not listen to me, I will feel sad, I will not speak back to you. Now by listening to this kind of sentences, that kid will think that she have control on others' emotions. As she grow up, she also will start thinking that others' actions, others' behavior can control her own emotions. Consider, now she grown up into a teenager or she grown up into a working professional, and she want to go for a trip with her college mate or with her working professionals, and she might suppress her need of being joyful with her colleagues or college mate just by thinking that her family members might get angry by listening to this. They might get sad by listening to this kind of news. Now, once this kind of suppression increases, once it crosses a tolerance limit, her inconvenience will start showing in all other her interactions. She start to blame others. Because of them, I am not happy. Because of them, it happened. She start to finger point others. Instead of this, we need to bring an education where people take responsibility of their own emotions and actions. By doing this, we will build a culture where everyone try to introspect their own behavior. They will try to improve their actions. By doing this, it also build the accountability they can take for their own life. Isn't it what you also want them to do? Taking charge of their own life. So, if we want to build a better tomorrow where every human interact with the energy of humanity, first of all, we need to learn, practice, and show it in our behavior. Because our next generation, our kids, will not listen to what we say. They will observe and practice based on our actions. So take actions based on life-serving reasons, which will help you to build a better tomorrow with the change embedded within you. Thank you.